Candace knows time is short for her. Her influence is waning. Her last week was devastating to her entire grift that's been going on for months now. It's all fallen apart for her. And you know what she's decided to do? Well, instead of admit she was wrong, instead of start talking like a normal person, she's now doubling down by going after Ben Shapiro.
And who was Ben Shapiro at lunch with? In fact, I'd like to know so much that if somebody can provide evidence of who he was at lunch with, because I have a hunch. I have a hunch of who he was with in LA when this happened. I will put up $10,000 bounty on that piece of information. Tips at CandaceOwens.com. 10,000 bounty. Just want to know who he was at lunch.
She's now sending $10,000 bounties out for information on Ben Shapiro's private life. It's just, this stuff is crazy, man. This woman is insane. She's like trying to push it as if Ben Shapiro is now somehow involved in Charlie Kirk's murder and et cetera, et cetera. It's getting pretty wild. This is what it looks like to be fully desperate. And this is one of the reasons why her podcast is plummeting. 192. I saw somebody else reply to this. It's now at like 195. Things are falling apart for Candace real bad. And it's not just her. It's all these people. I mean, see now what's happened in the last year, and it's really ramped up the last few months, is that now people are finally saying, oh, all these people I used to like or listen to, I'm starting to doubt them. I'm starting to have questions. Let's start looking into them more. And it's producing a whole lot of very fascinating information. We have more coming out on all kinds of grifters, including Stu Peters. Now, this one's crazy. Stu Peters has been one of the worst for a long time. This guy is out there parroting Candace's nonsense. And apparently Stu Peters defrauded Jesse Ventura's son and infiltrated his house to get a small film role. Listen to this story. This is crazy. In summer of 2020, Stuart Peters befriended Minnesota Governor Jesse Ventura's son, Tyrell. He lied about Hollywood connections to get a role in a short film Tyrell was directing. Peters was invited to stay at the governor's mansion. Staff treated him like family, did his laundry, cooked his meals, and provided security rides for somewhere between 1 and 4 weeks. Tyrell then grew suspicious. Police ran a background check and evicted him as an imposter. At the time, Peters had several active warrants for small nonviolent offenses. This is insane. So apparently Stu Peters was a failed actor. Oh yeah. How about, it's so funny once you find out where these people come from. They were all addicted to attention, just like Candace, who she came on the scene originally for going after her school for being racist. And from there, she created a marketing company that went after she used that leverage from being in the news, create a marketing company that was liberal and wrote several things, including why you should marry a gay guy, and went after Trump. And then in 2017, she realized where the country was turning. And so she came out as the Blexit, face of black exit from the Democratic Party. And, oh, I'm a conservative now. She grifted her way into jobs, major jobs at Daily Wire and PragerU, where it turned out everybody found out she was a psycho and failed her. These people are all the same. And this is how the most useful people are the people desperate for attention, because they're really willing to sell their souls, just as Stu Peters did. So more and more is coming out on them. And it's just crazy. Now, one of the grifters, who is a recurring star of the Grifter Report, is Nick Fuentes, who, Fuentes has been going after Candace lately, and Ian Carroll and Dan Bilzerian and Jake Shields. He's been calling out a lot of them, and the question was why? Well, the question, in my opinion, has been answered, because now he is going all the way back to hating on Trump and running his grift. The thing is, he just knew how retarded they all sounded and was distancing himself. But here's Nick Fuentes going back to being the Nick Fuentes we all knew he was.
And this is when you realize Trump is the problem. Not his advisors, not his personnel, not the Democrats. There is no one else you are running out of runway for other people to blame, for other excuses, because wasn't that always the excuse? Why did nothing happen in the first term? The personnel were slowing him down. In this term, he's slowing the personnel down. The people in DHS are furious with Trump because he doesn't want to build the wall. It's not that they can't. It's not that the Democrats are stopping. He doesn't want to anymore. The people in DHS want more deportations. He won't let them. So that's not an excuse.
Deportations are at all-time highs. The wall is almost finished, and a second wall is going up along the southern border. All this is lies. All this is lies. See, this is Nick being Nick again. After he destroyed, or he saw Candace's star was falling, so he jumped ship on her, and he did it all to establish credibility. And this is where Nick is now. He went all the way back. Remember the other day he said we only have hope in the Republican Party. Well, he's back to cozying up with the Democrats again.
And so forget about Trump fucking blowing it in the second term. He's also going to potentially blow it for us in 2028. And I don't want this to happen, but we might literally have to suffer another Democrat presidency for the next 4 years to have a true reset. That's how much damage Trump has done to the Republican brand. That's how much his pernicious influence has spoiled any opportunity for something fresh to come up. He's presenting a real problem because in 28, you're going to have to, if you want to shake things up, you're going to have to thread the needle between pissing off Trump and alienating all the people that still support him, but at the same time, voicing those legitimate criticisms for how Trump has totally failed us and departed from the original mission to activate all the people that are not happy with Trump. It's an impossible situation. In 28, you got to simultaneously kiss Trump's ass and say, you're the greatest president ever. And yeah, it's the best economy. And, you know, we defeated the Iranians. That's what it was always about. Because you can't piss off these retarded boomers that only watch Fox News and still worship Trump. Can't piss them off. Can't piss off all these idiots in the Facebook comment section. They'll take endless abuse from Trump. But also, you got to talk to the rest of America, you know, the other 75% that have an internal monologue and say, yeah, we know it's a betrayal. We know it's a pretty big letdown to say no new wars.
You know what's hilarious is, you know, I'm a millennial. I'm 42. I barely missed the Gen X train. I'm a little sad about it. I like Gen X. And I honestly, in my life, the way my life I was raised, the way I see the world, I much more align with Gen X, their pop culture, everything that I do millennials. But regardless, by my age, I am technically a millennial. And so as a millennial, I want to say that, you know, I'm getting everything I voted for and more. And see, that's the thing. Like what we see in Nick and people like that, we see that he's still clearly an asset because Trump, everything I've just shown, everything you guys watch, if you watch the full podcast or my other clips, you can see the evidence is he's dismantling the globalist system. The evidence is overwhelming. So why would somebody like Nick be so mad about it? And that's the grift right there. And that's the tell. That's the tell that everything he just said, he's lying to his audience of angry young males. He's lying to them to make them feel like they're in on a club. And you notice how Nick doesn't actually bring up receipts. He just spouts it out. This is how they do it. This is how they work. And it's funny to me that, you know, Nick still seems to be on the good end. I have a feeling Candace and those other ones, they're kind of being, they're like, you know, we're losing your usefulness. You went a little too retard. You never go full retard, Candace, and you did. That's why Nick cut bait with her. But it's pretty clear Nick is fully back in on the grift. And so I fully expect him to be hanging out with Alex Jones again soon, as he's done many interviews with him, Tucker Carlson, et cetera, because this is exactly the talking points they're doing. By the way, this whole boomers are the whole reason Trump is moving forward. Well, that's the same grift being run by Rich Barris, Robert Barnes, Mark Mitchell, who are all affiliated with Steve Bannon. Oh, yeah. You see, it's amazing how you find the talking points and they all work together. They all get the same, here it is. Here's your talking points, move forward. Now, the difference is Nick gets to appeal to those who hate Trump or are open to hating Trump. Bannon is trying to subvert Trump from the inside. And that's how the game's played, folks. The grift continues, and Nick is pretty clearly, despite the fact he was saying some base stuff. But again, that proves my point I've said many times as well. It's that they give you enough or just enough to try to build trust so that when they go off the deep end, you still trust them. Now, the hilarious thing I cannot wait to see is this. So Nick Fuentes sat down with Hunter Biden. Oh, the Hunter Biden tour continues, friends. And they're talking, now they're having an interview together. This is hilarious. Hunter, who has appeared on Gavin Newsom's podcast, who chummed it up with Candace Owens, who's been making the rounds on the Hunter Biden redemption tour, now sitting down with Nick Fuentes. And the reason I can't wait to watch this is not because I want to see Hunter Biden, him lying. I don't want to see Nick Fuentes fluffing him up. I want to see this. Because apparently Hunter Biden and Nick Fuentes got into an explosive debate and almost went physical. And the funniest part about this is that you guys understand they all hate each other too. They all do. These people are not friends. They're just paid by the same people, run by the same people. They're narcissists. And in a narcissist world, there's no room for anybody else. It's your way or the highway, your word or no one else's word. And I gotta say, I hope I get to see somebody, even if it's Hunter Biden, punch Nick Fuentes in the face. That is going to be well worth my time. So, why do I do these reports? Why do I keep exposing the grift? Well, it's good to show how they lie. It's good to look through the psyops. The other reason is, I'm just going to be completely honest with you. I get a kick out of it. I find it very entertaining because one of the funniest things that happens is when they dig themselves into holes or when they fight amongst each other. It never gets old to me. So when the Hunter Biden Nick Fuentes interview drops, you better believe I'll be there to check it out because it's going to be primetime viewing.